นะคะสามารถสมัครได้แล้วนะ EB3 วันนี้นะคะ 23,900 เหรียญนะคะมีงานให้เลือกมากมายขอบคุณค่ะวันนี้สวยใช่ไหมทุกวันอยู่บ้านนะคะวันนี้ออกงานกรุงเทพนะคะวันนี้อยู่หน้างานเลยลูกค้าก็จะเยอะนิดนึงนะคะนี่นะคะลูกค้าก็จะเยอะขอบคุณค่ะสนใจสมัครได้แล้วนะคะวันนี้ 23,900 เหรียญนะคะสมัครได้แล้วลูกค้าเยอะมากนะคะนั่งไลฟ์คุยกันนิดหน่อยนะคะมีตรงไหนที่สนใจอยากจะสมัครหรือมีคำถามเพิ่มเติมกับพี่นกสามารถถามได้แล้ววันนี้นะคะนี่นะคะ NCC นะคะวันนี้นะคะจัดที่กรุงเทพอยู่กับเจ้าของบริษัทเดินไปเดินมาอยู่นั่นน่ะเอามือจกกางเกงน่ะนะคะคุณมาเตียสนะคะเดินไปเดินมาอยู่แล้วจะไปข้างในด้วยนะคะพี่เดีย
Engage with the people all around the process. So there's really a great connection between all the people that it's already living and working there, and also all the candidates and people who are thinking about doing this, because it generates a community that provides information to make sure that everyone takes the best decision based on the possibilities available and based on their personal and family preferences. I will show another video of another company. Which is Badger Bus.
Matthias, so it was really fun to get the chance to get to know you here and talk about Badger, which is one of the funnest things that I get to talk about. Several years ago, we had the opportunity of working with Zach's group. It really looked like a fantastic opportunity to get involved, and we knew we didn't have enough people to work in Badger. We were short drivers, we were short people to do lots of work here, so we started to get this program going. Well, since then, we've had about last year we've been able to get EB3s and that have been coming over, and the program's gone fantastic. Everybody that's come over has performed really well. They've gotten acclimated, or they've gotten very comfortable.
On the right experience, you might get denied by a mistake from the attorney. So let's assume that there's a mistake from the attorney and the case gets denied. We take the responsibility of that and we place you in another sponsor. We don't have usually denials. Candidate has responsibility on that denial. For example, if they hide something and they had a criminal record and we didn't know it, the attorney didn't know it, then that's the responsibility of the candidate. So that's how we basically have the rules of engagement in the agreement we have with the candidate, with the beneficiaries. So we usually make an agreement with the beneficiaries. We always make an agreement with the. Excuse me? Okay, so the question is if in case of rejection we do any refund. So we do the refund in the cases where the mistake is from the lawyer, which we don't have. If the responsibility is from the candidate. Any other question?
In case of you have the applicant from the country that the Trump is banning visa or in the sanctuary, and do you think any consequence to this kind of visa?
So that's another very good question. And what we do at this stage is to evaluate each case prior to engaging in any payment with the attorney to make sure that the beneficiary, the candidate, has all the information from the attorney to make a decision. Why I'm saying this? Because the U.S. administration can appear in the news with some communications but that communication might be different from reality. To give you an example, the EB3 process, to change it, it needs to change it by the Congress, by law. So it's not that the executive power can just change overnight the EB3 program. Same thing happened with the EB5, you know, with these kind of claims or news that we hear. But what we do right now is we are in constant consultation with attorneys, and what we do is making sure that the candidate has all the information from the attorneys, and when there's a specific situation, we put up front of the risk, and that's the decision of the candidate. If they have like a conflicting country, let's say Venezuela, for putting an example, right? Cuba, you know, whatever. Some of the countries that might be in the news as countries with issues with potential issues around this process. What we do is provide all the information, do the meetings with attorneys, provide the concept of the attorneys, so the candidate can take the best informed decision. But we haven't yet seen any real change in the EB3 program as it works. But it's a very good point, because there has been in the news, some statements around. So we all have to be as informed as we can. But it's important that the opinion is provided by the experts, right? So the experts are the attorneys running for decades EB3 programs, and they know the law, they know what can be done, what not can be done, and what are the risks involved in those processes. Like for example, asylum, right? Now there can be a change in asylum and how that works. So there's a lot of cases where it's relevant to have the opinion for attorney, for the individual to make the best decision possible in the umbrella of the law, always. Yes?
Okay, let's go back to the previous question that asking about the reject case that you already answered already. But I heard that there are some cancel case by the sponsor. I'm not sure that what the difference of these two types.
No, it's a different situation, and I think it's a very valid question. So thank you. So again, I'm going to give you something that didn't happen to us, but it's a possible scenario, which is actually the owner of this process is the sponsor company, right? So let's say that once you finalize the process, you start working with the company, and the company terminates your agreement, right? That can happen, right? That can happen. Why? Because they are the owners of the process, and you arrive to the US with a permanent resident visa, with a green card, and you have a job, but they can also, fire the employer from the job, right? So that can happen. It can also happen that before arriving, the sponsor could say, I don't have that job available anymore, right? Now, the situation with Stoughton is that they have so many jobs available that there's no chance that's going to happen. Because even families that go to another employer, like for Badger Bus, Stoughton is asking us for more people, to join the company at the local level. So they need people, right? So I'm just explaining the situation, that it's important to know that the owner, let's say, of this process is the sponsor, right? And that could potentially happen, right? That sponsor decides to terminate the contract with the employee.
But if we were unlucky and the sponsor just canceled before we finish the process, for example, maybe in between we doing the I-140 and the sponsor just changed their mind with some reason.
No, that's also a very good question, but that's why it's so important to work with companies that are stable, with very good economics and prospects. So we don't work with companies with doubtful financials. So Stoughton is a leading company. Their clients are Amazon, UPS, FedEx, and so we evaluate the companies that are very stable, growing, and they will require people, and they are already onboarding people, and they're requesting for more openings. So that's not a situation that is happening with us, but if you work with a small company or a small restaurant, after 3 years, you don't know if that company, if it's small, is going to be there. So that's why you have to be careful with which sponsor you select, right? And which company you decide to work with. But it's very important that these companies have like a very good trajectory.
And if in the case that we will cancel, what NTC gonna do for us?
Yes. So again, we don't have those cases because also we have an agreement with the sponsoring company that they will complete the immigration process. So we don't have that kind of situation ourselves, right? We don't have those kind of situations.
Thank you.
But that's because again, these companies, Badger Bus has more than 100 years of history operating in the US. Stoughton is a significant company in the industry. TC Transcontinental, it's a multinational company. So they are companies with a very solid economical trajectory that continuously require workers and request to do so by the EB3 program. So that's why we don't have this type of cases. What other questions you might have?
This EB3 visa through NCC USA, do you have any video of any Thai national